Everywhere, GBS.
Good evening and welcome to our political discussion show. Today, of course, that is The Insight, where we are diving into some of the most pressing issues facing our world and particularly our country, Kenya, today. From the drop in unga prices, relief, the ongoing unrest in Sudan, cash crunch affecting the county operations, and the state of the bipartisanship discussion between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, which will form the basis of our discussion tonight, dubbed The Talk, Finding a Common Ground. We'll be joined by our team of political commentators who will offer their insights and perspectives on these complex issues. And of course, on The Insight tonight, my very first guest is Joseph Chege. Joseph Chege, thank you so much for joining us on The Insight tonight.
Thank you.
Joseph Chege is an Azimio youth leader.
Yes.
And of course, he is a political analyst as well.
Yeah.
He's joining us for this discussion. And thank you so much. Welcome once again, Mr. Joseph Chege.
Okay, thank you so much.
We also have Teddy Mushiru. Teddy Mushiru is also a political commentator. Yeah. And of course, he's a UDA youth leader. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And I'm inviting you for this conversation. Thank you so much. And you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you can join us in this conversation. 21144 is our SMS line. You can also find us at GBS TV Africa at Eugene Ochieng Kwach, where we get to delve deeply into these issues. Of course, the insight starts right away. And let me start with you, Mr. Chege.
Yes.
It's actually been long since we met, actually, when you were on this show.
Yeah, sure.
And I remember the last time we met, you were so authoritative.
Yes.
That Raila the man
Yes.
was going to be the president of Kenya.
Yes.
Come the declaration after the 9th of August general elections of 2022.
Yes.
That has not been so. But you are very authoritative.
Yes.
Back then.
Yes.
Did anything change?
No, nothing has changed. Raila is people's president. It has not changed and will not change. Kenyans believe in Raila Amolo Odinga. Even now, they are looking for Raila Amolo Odinga for the cost of living to go down, for the insecurities and everything. We are looking upon Raila Amolo Odinga. So up to now, you know, sometimes you can be a president, but you don't have those, what you call the constitutional powers.
But what, from how we talked last time,
Yes.
or through the conversation, you said Raila was going to ascend to the presidency.
Yes, you see.
Constitutionally mandated.
You see, these are...
As an insider, because you were in Jubilee by that time.
yes, I was
Maybe
in Jubilee, and I was in Azimio, and I can tell you, our viewers can take this to the bank, that if these people, they dare open the servers, they can know who won the election. You see, let me give you an example. We keep saying that people have stolen Raila Amolo Odinga votes. It has been a song for a long time, until people are tired. Why each time votes has been stolen. Let me give you an example. When you become a parent and you take your kid, maybe you go to the Catholic or somewhere, you take your kid, maybe a girl, to the catechist to be taught the ways of God. Okay? Then, along the way, then maybe your kid is defiled there. Okay? You as a person, you cannot blame yourself. You did the right thing. You took to the person who you thought could have protected your kid. But eventually, it was defiled. And that's what Raila has been doing. Raila has so much faith in the Constitution, in the institutions, in the people who run those institutions. But because he has fought for this, for our democracy and constitution so far. But what Raila usually don't understand, we have our institutions, but the people who are there, they sabotage them. Our institutions, they don't function and they don't work. And that's what costed Raila. Because Kenyans know 2 years towards the election, there was a song.
We will get back to that discussion maybe some other time.
Okay.
But I want us to delve into the discussion, or rather the topic of the day. We have some of the subtopics, and of course, generally we want to talk about the bipartisanship, the debate. Before we delve into that, which will be forming the basis of our discussion tonight, I want us to talk about an issue that is very critical and pinching to the Kenyan people. And I'll start with you, Mr. Mushiri. Yes. We begin our discussion with the drop in unga prices generally. While actually some residents claim that the prices are yet to reduce. Yes. It's important that we should remember actually that unga is just but one of the many essential goods. And my question tonight for you, Mr., is does the decrease in unga prices actually has a significant impact on the cost of living?
Yes. Okay. First, thank you so much, Eugene, for having me today, and also in the future to all our Muslim brothers at home. So, in this topic, you're asking about the decrease of food. We have to understand, as a government of the day, we are doing all deliberate or intentions to make the cost of living to come down. And by what are we doing? We are saying instead of subsidizing the cost of the consumption, we are going to subsidize on the production. And when we say we are going to subsidize on production, we are meaning we are going to the farmer in the village and making sure he gets fertilizers at cheap prices. We are going to make sure they are agriculture extension officers who are going to tell him this time to plant this. You understand? And by doing that, we are going to cut the cost of production, and the common mwananchi will be getting unga at a fair prices. And I also want, there are also some very, and to inform all this conversation, we have to understand the economics of the whole country. You have to know a household in Nairobi spends about 60% of their income on food. You understand? If you are spending 60% of income on food, meaning you'll never have enough money to do development, you'll never have enough money to think outside your comfort zone. So you will always be toiling to feed your family. And that's why you see our regime at this point is so intentional. You understand? So intentional in pushing in pushing the agriculture activities so that in production of food.
Okay, let me ask you this question still on the cost of living. And you've mentioned that the president and his government, that is the Kenya Kwanza government, where you belong, have resorted to instead subsidize production. You have mentioned fertilizer, where they talked about actually the president when he ascended into office, saying that there will be adequate cheap fertilizers for the farmers.
True.
We have not had rainfall for quite a time, for some time, and again, we are talking about subsidized fertilizer, but still the prices of unga have been somewhere that is not quite favorable to the common man.
Yes,
what do you say about this?
Okay, we have to understand where you're coming from. The prices of unga did not skyrocket the other day. They have been here for the last 2 years or so. And so whatever, and for the prices to come down, it's a gradual process for it to be long term. You know, we can have a short term, action on this process, but at the end of the day, it won't be beneficial to the common mwananchi. And what we are doing right now, you understand, it's about subsidizing production, meaning right now, maybe it might not be the result may not be seen at the moment, but they'll gradually, as we proceed, with the farmers getting the fertilizer, with farmers getting cheap seeds, with the extension officers going in the farms, in the near future, 6 months, 8 months, we'll be having cheap unga, and not like next month they skyrocket and they fluctuate. We'll be having cheap unga going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me get to you, Mr. Shege.
Yes.
We talk about the actual relief in the prices of unga.
Yes.
Do you think, from where you sit, it has had a very significant maybe meaning or impact to the Kenyans, bearing that of course it's not only unga that is of essence to Kenya, not the only product?
You see, first I want to apologize to the Kenyans on behalf of my friends who is lying to them about production and the subsidies and something. Because what they have done right now, a corrupt regime giving corrupt subsidies to corrupt cartels. If you can look at the market right now, it is not the market that is dictating the price of unga. The price of jogo, the price of pembe is still the same, the way it was. 208, 200. It is two brands, I think Ajab and Umi, from one individual, one company that has gone down. And those people, the two cartels, were given a leeway to go and import free duty maize by the government. Not the whole industry.
Okay.
An individual cartel was given free way to go and import free duty maize on behalf of other industries. And that's why in the Star paper, the millers were categorical that the price have not changed on them.
Okay.
What has changed is a government cartels that have brought the unga down. And that's why even Kenyans themselves are very suspicious of the two brands.
Okay.
You can see on social media people saying this is GMO. Are we together? The maize might be contaminated.
Okay.
Because it's, you see, let me tell you, Eugene, and that's why I'm telling Kenyans, they made a big mistake voting these people. If we are bringing the price of unga, it should be market driven, market oriented. That if you go here, the jogo has come down, pembe has come down, the difference is 2 shillings. But where the millers are crying that ours is still there. But two brands have gone down of the same company, same individuals, and those people are linked to have sponsored the Kenya Kwanza government. I want to also say this.
Yes.
The subsidized fertilizer you are talking about, my friend is talking about, you saw even the Minister for Agriculture was called the other day in Parliament to explain about a 15 billion scandal sitting already on the fertilizer issue. And the Kenyans are watching us. I want Kenyans honestly to respond to the YouTube, to the view on the station, the people who received the fertilizer. People never received fertilizer. We saw the other day in Laikipia, a store belonging to a trader packed with fertilizer. And it's written on even on the package, not for sale. So what I'm trying to tell you is that in this conmanship of, oh, we gave a free fertilizer, oh, we gave subsidies, it is cartels that are exchanging money and hands on behalf of the suffering Kenyans and people who are going to bed hungry. In fact, it's a shame that we can talk of a scandal.
Okay, Mushiri,
Let
me give you a chance to reply to what he has talked of. And you've heard him so well. Talked about maybe even the reduction or the relief in unga prices is a scam. It is suspicious. What do you make of this?
Actually, I'm surprised. I know he's an informed guy, but I'm surprised by his views. But one thing we have to understand about before the Kenya Kwanza regime on subsidizing on production, there was the Jubilee government, the handshake government. Their policy was on subsidizing on consumption. And what used to happen, there were a few millers who would benefit on the big amount, big amount amounting to billions of shillings. They were given money to subsidize on consumption, so the prices of unga they can come down. Right now, Eugene, my brother, you don't expect these guys to not sabotage the government of the day, so that they can go, so that we can go back to subsidizing on consumption. And that's what is happening. That's why you can see all these millers. Their prices are still high at the moment. You know, only you have said Ajib and the Umi and the others, but the big millers, they are still undermanned and they are blackmailing the government. But you want to tell them categorically, it's not going to happen. We had a policy. We went to the people. We talked to the people. We told them. We said before we come talking, sit down with rich people here in Nairobi. You understand?
But there have been issues.
Listen, let me finish.
There have been issues raised by the same millers about some pending bills.
Yes.
What do you make of this?
You understand now? Those pending bills, they do not. The Kenya Kwanza government has been government for 6 months.
But you see, government. When you talk about the government of Kenya,
I'm explaining my point.
The previous government was serving Kenya, and all decisions that
Yes.
were made
Yes, yes.
in the previous government
Yes, yes.
was meant
Yes.
to serve Kenyans.
Yes.
So
That's
why
what I'm
can't the
explaining myself.
president,
That's
why
what I'm
can't
explaining myself.
the government
Yes.
that is in service right now,
Yes.
why can't they maybe look at the plight of the millers generally?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, you know, the thing is, they are not accountable. When you do the auditing of the money they were supposed to be given for subsidy on consumption, it was ending to the pockets of people, and it was not being seen. Because now, if you remember, there was a day the millers were given money, and we were told, I think some few months to election, we were told the unga will be 150. Did you see yourself personally? Did you ever see a unga for 150?
Okay.
Yeah, those were con games, but right now we have decided we are going to deal with the common mwananchi, and we are going. It will be gradual, but it will be sustainable.
Okay.
You understand?
In a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to tell my friend here, because the good thing, there's no Kenyan who is coming away from other countries to here. The other day we had the Minister of Agriculture in this government saying they have found a very huge tract of land in Zambia where they will cultivate maize. As if Kenya, we don't have a land that we cultivate maize. In Rift Valley, we have very huge tract of land where we can cultivate maize. We have Garanakuraru, which themselves, they sabotaged. Are we together? So what is happening here is a government that is keen. The people in the government that are so keen in killing even the farmers who are doing the business.
I want us to let this issue rest here.
Yes.
And maybe delve into another issue, because we had some major issues. But let me just give you a right to reply generally to what he has said,
Yes, yes.
maybe in some few seconds.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, like I was saying, the process of cost of production of unga at the moment is gradual, and as we make any move, and I think even if they happened to form the government, their intention is to make the cost the common man to get unga at the lowest place as possible. So about going to Zambia, going to where?
Okay.
At the end of the day,
Yes.
the common man at home, his unga should get his
Actually,
unga at the
before we
lowest
move to the
prices
next
as possible.
topic, Before we go to the next
Yeah,
topic,
yeah.
actually, there's a question that I asked you.
Yeah.
That the reduction in the price
Yeah.
of unga
Yeah.
as an essential commodity
Yeah.
that is used by Kenyans,
Yeah.
many Kenyans,
Yeah.
it is only in unga,
Yeah.
but we also have oil,
Yeah.
amongst many other
Electricity.
electricity. We have water.
Skyrocketed.
So many issues
Yes,
that
yes.
actually Kenyans want solved.
Yes.
If we only have a reduction of unga,
Yeah.
has this got impact, a positive impact, a great impact in the Kenyan lives?
Eugene, my brother, you know, you have to begin from somewhere. You understand?
Okay.
You have to begin from somewhere as you move ahead and you make the overall changes in the whole economic system at this point. But the most important place to start, you start at home.
Okay.
You start with food, because food is what fuels the nation. You understand? The nation, the population cannot be active, cannot be engaged in economic activities on empty stomach. You understand?
Okay.
And that's why we have decided as a government, we are going to begin moving forward. And as we continue, you shall see all the sweeping changes that will be happening. Yeah.
Okay, but even as this happens,
Yeah.
we are facing other issues,
Yes.
and that is cash crunch.
Yes.
This is actually facing the counties.
Yes, yes.
That has affected even healthcare workers.
True.
Of course, what can we, from where you sit
Yes,
generally,
yes, yes.
and as a youth leader,
Yes, yes.
of course, from the government,
Yeah.
do you think that this has got an impact generally in the nation, from where you sit?
Yeah, true. Definitely it has an impact. But like I've been saying from the beginning of this show, these things did not begin today or the day before. It has been a systemic problem brought about by the Handshake Brothers. You understand? But now as a government, we have taken we sold our manifesto to the people. And we said, that's why we said, you see all this problem of the cash crunch and everything, that's why we said that has been brought up because of the policies of the past regime, where we said we don't want this economy of trickle down. We want this economy of bottom up. Meaning, in the trickle down, which has been happening for the last 10 years, the money was remaining with the rich people. That's why when you go to there, you'll see a lot of V8. You'll see a lot of the products. But if you go to the common man, there is no food. You understand? The disparity is huge because of the trickle down. But now when you say the government takes deliberate action to invest with the common man, that's where changes began. That's where changes began happening.
Okay,
You understand?
the issue of healthcare workers
Yes.
downing their tools because of unpaid salaries,
Yes.
they're saying that, of course, they do not have money,
Yes.
even that could help them to maybe go to work.
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
I think
That's
there's
what I'm saying,
in
yeah.
as much as it is an issue of
Yeah.
the previous
Yes.
regime,
Yes.
what is the government doing
Yes.
to
You
see
know,
that
that's where-
this is being solved
Yes.
and actually
That's what I was
these
saying,
officials, the healthcare
Yes.
workers,
Yes.
do not down their tools?
Not only the healthcare workers in the counties. That's what I was saying, the bottom up, when you come to the bottom, it's meaning if you invest with the person on the ground, you will increase and expound the tax bracket. When you expand the tax bracket, it means the government will be getting a lot of revenue, so that cases like this, instead of going, you borrow to pay salaries, and is what has been happening. We have been in this hole, Eugene, just a minute. We have been in this hole for a minute. In the past government of Uhuru government, the government was borrowing, and it's very unethical for a president, and I have to say this, to be borrowing from his bank, NCBA, to be paying salary, because that's what was happening. That's why there was no this situation. But the president has been very categorical. We are not going to be borrowing from. We are not going to be having domestic borrowing of money to pay the county workers. We are going to have a long term. We are going to have a long term.
Okay, so let me just ask you this.
Yeah?
Eugene, you can't allow this man to continue lying to Kenya.
Yes, just a minute
Yes.
before I give you
Because
a chance
you
to
are giving me a
respond.
lot of time.
Kindly,
Yeah.
let me ask you,
Yes.
because if you're mentioning a bottom-up economic approach
Yes.
in this issue
Yes,
of the
yes.
healthcare workers
Yes,
downing
yes.
the tools,
Yes.
and of course, which has affected the counties generally, and the cash crunch is affecting devolution
Yes,
in a very big way.
Yes.
My question was that what was the government doing?
Yeah.
But again, you have touched on the bottom-up economic
Yeah, yeah,
approach,
yeah.
and I'd love you maybe if you can elucidate
Yes.
what the bottom-up economic approach,
Yes.
the relations between the bottom-up economic approach and this issue that is affecting Kenyans generally
Yes.
as cash crunch, because it is not just in health, it does not affect only the healthcare
Yes.
only.
Yes.
Yes.
I want to say this. This issue of the cash crunch is about revenue. Is it? Is about revenue at this point. You understand?
How will it solve this?
No.
How
I'm
will it
explaining.
solve?
I'm
Yes.
explaining my point.
Yes.
It's about revenue. You understand? And the only way the government gets its funds through revenue that it accrues from the taxes from the people. You understand? At this point, there is a lot of economic ruins, and people on the bottom. People on the bottom, they cannot engage in any economic activities, and that's why now, if you have to pay the workers the healthcare, you have to go and borrow. You have to go and borrow money from private from private banks. You understand? And this problem has been there because of the past regime. But now, if you want to change this system, you have to invest on the man on the bottom. If you invest on the people on the bottom with policies that favor those guys, will increase the tax bracket, and the country will be getting enough revenue. Not only, Shage, please a minute, not only to pay the workers, but also to continue with the infrastructure, with the big infrastructure project going forward.
Eugene, you have to give me 1 minute,
Yeah.
because this man is lying to Kenyans, and we are here as a country. The guy is talking the previous regime. Who was the deputy president in the previous regime? Is he not the president now? The president now was in the previous regime. In fact, when he talks about the handshake, we want to know how Raila contributed. Even Raila came in to agree to Uhuru. Raila did not even appoint one person in the cabinet. The cabinet was made up of 2 people. The president Uhuru side and the deputy president side. Raila coming to the government, not even one person that Ruto, the deputy president then had appointed, was fired by Uhuru. They worked together. The government was made up of 2 people. The only difference is when Uhuru was so much in working, the deputy president then was much in tangatangering. He was going around the country. He didn't even run how to run the country from Uhuru. That's why when he came to the government, he's keep talking of the previous regime as if Kenyans are fools. They don't know that he was part and parcel of the previous regime for 10 years. All the projects that had happened, all the borrowing that happened, he was part of it, of the cabinet for 10 years. That's why it's so nauseating a person lying to Kenyans that the previous regime had done this, knowing very well Raila was not part of it. Even in the cabinet, Raila was not part of it. I go back. When Kibaki took over the government, this country was ravaged for 24 years by KANU regime. Everything plundered. Not even a day did Kibaki stood on the podium and mentioned Moi. In fact, what Kibaki did, he said he want even the Kabarnet Gardens, that was the public, to be privatized for the sake of Moi to have peace in his retirement. Kibaki started from nowhere, made this country great. These people was the deputy president of this republic for all that time. And what he keeps telling people is about Mama Mboga, bottom up, Mama Mboga, there's no money. From where? If the money that is being taken, all these are routing the money. These people don't even understand how the government works. The government does not work the way they are saying. At we don't take loans, we know. The government works like this. Today we take the taxes of this man. When you're taking the, I will teach him so that he can tell his boss how the government works, because they don't have they don't even have an idea. Go and tell your boss, this is how government works. You take the taxes. Are you together? For this month. The taxes you take for this month, you use for next month. It's for the first time in the history of this country that the civil servants are not paid. Even Moi, who was just there, used to pay the civil servant. This government, they have not paid the civil servant. The doctors have down their tools. Life has gone up. They are talking about, oh, the regime, used to take loan. You saw the Business Daily yesterday, that this government, Ruto, has surpassed Uhuru in the 6 months in taking loans. Is it a fact? It is a fact. But where are the loans and where are the taxes? Because these people are coming and the people are eating everything. You cannot be a leader and appoint crooks to the government. All the crooks to the government, then you come and give us stories, oh, the Mutuachini. The Mutuachini was lied to. There's nothing that has done in this country to show even the willingness of the bottom up. You can't point an assistant minister in lands, CS, and the next day he's shooting women, grabbing half an acre in Nakuru. That is a minister, assistant minister in lands. It can tell you the crooks that the Kenyans are dealing with. And woe unto Kenyans. Because in the next 5 years, the only bottom up that they might go, it's going to heaven.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
No,
actually.
I have to reply. I think I have to reply to this. Just 1 minute. Just give me a minute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, actually, my friend here, Shage, first, you know, all of us, we are not visitors in this country. We have been here for the first 5 years, and we saw what happened between Uhuru and Ruto. And for him to say Ruto was in government, I think he should apologize to viewers out there, because we all saw what was going on.
Okay.
You know, Uhuru had his regime and had Sheikh regime, and it is on record, them saying that we are in government and we are running government, and Deputy President Ruto is in the opposition. So let's not lie to Kenyans out there.
I can see another politician calling by the name Lusak is calling me. I know he wants to contribute to the topic.
Yes.
But don't call me online. Anyway, we are still continuing with this conversation. 21144 is our SMS line at GBS TV Africa. At Eugene Ochieng. You get to discuss with us, you get to converse with us, and we get to see your views on these issues, very critical issues that we are talking about. And of course, we get to get perspectives through the lenses of the political analysts that we have in the House. Well, we are taking a very quick short break, but we'll be right back.
everywhere. GBS.
Thank you so much and welcome back to The Insight. Tonight, we are talking about the bipartisanship debate. And of course, this is a debate that has been going on for quite some time in the country. And there is currently a stalemate when, as the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza held their inaugural meeting, there was a stalemate. And actually, it was on the membership of Adan Keynan and Honorable Kosing, whether they can also contribute to the membership generally of the bipartisanship membership, the parliamentary committee. And I just want to get your view on this generally, about the bipartisanship. Even as we begin the process of having this bipartisanship, is it going to help Kenya in terms of this political conundrum? How is it going to impact in our politics? So far from where you sit, I start with you,
Yes,
Mushiri.
Thank you, Eugene. Actually, myself, I'm skeptical about this because I know the person you are dealing with. You know, if you are dealing with sincere people, at least we would have a chance. But now, dealing with Odinga, we all know what he wants. But I also welcome the bipartisan talks because I think it's time we started talking to each other instead of talking at each other. You understand? So that being said, I hope Odinga will stop all these town halls and these maandamano, which he said they will be starting after Ramadan, and sit down. Because if he was sincere, he would not be insisting on maandamano. Let all issues that are supposed to be conversed at this point be at the floor of the House by parliamentarian and be anchored by law.
Okay.
But we only know, but the problem is, and my brother, I'm sure he'll expound on this, the problem is Odinga only wants few things. I'm sure he only, not even few things, he actually wants one thing. He wants to be in government, and he wants to be in government, and he wants to have to be in government, but we want to tell him it's just 4 years. For you to be in government and to control arms of the government, you have to go through an election process, which he went to the election process, unfortunately did not win. So let us give him 4 years to rehearse and troubleshoot his mistakes. What happened in the previous election, maybe 2027, he can have his government. And when he happened to, if my friend they form the government, we won't be going for maandamano, shouting, asking for nusu mkate. We'll leave them to lead the country. Yes.
Okay, sir, there's a stalemate of between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, even as they had the inaugural meeting. Let me ask you this question. The stalemate is about Kosing, Honorable Kosing, and of course, we also have Adan Keynan. You look at this issue, is this sympathy worth holding negotiations on the political crisis generally?
One thing that Kenyans should know is that it will not be fun. And Kenyans will remember Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila has sacrificed for this country. If we go back to the history, even 2007, when it was clear enough that Raila had won, he could have taken this country to the likes of South Sudan, those countries that have war. But Raila accepted to step down for the sake of peace of this country. And this country stood. And Kenyans know that. Going forward, all even the constitution, it's one person who have voted for them, Raila Amolo Odinga. When Kenyans are like now the unga and everything, it's only Raila who is talking about the unga. Nobody else is doing it. When President William Samoei Ruto talked about the bipartisan approach, Raila was so willing to have the bipartisan approach because he has always have Kenya at his heart. Even talked about, and in fact, he was the first one to name the team that he will take for the parliamentary process. But what did we saw from the Ruto side? It was like undermining him. The people they appointed are not equals that they can have any conversation. That was telling Raila, go to hell with your parliamentary. We are just taking you for a ride. Where this country is now, right now, it has only two options. We can have the political harmony or we can sink. with any political disturbances, this country will sink. Dollar will be 200. We cannot even have enough unga. The taxes will not be corrected. And even you saw the other day, there is not even other countries that are willing to lend this country money. So the only thing we can do is to hold our shit together and work as a country with political harmony, taking everybody on the table and talking the issues that are happening. But the other side cannot allow. Because these are side people who are going to the table just dumping that this is a company with shares. Imagine telling other
Before
people.
we talk about the hardline positions
Yes.
that the government and the opposition have taken in the previous talks,
Yes.
or generally when we see them in the media,
Yes.
they have taken hard stances.
Yes.
But before we talk about that, they had the first inaugural meeting.
Yes.
That was yesterday. And of course, we saw what they said, that they still have a stalemate. What do you think about that stalemate? Is it worth holding?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
We cannot have a conversation going when Adan Kenan is a Jubilee member, and Jubilee is part of Azimio. But Ruto, because he does not care if these talks succeed or not, in fact, he's taking Kenyans for a ride about the talks. Because if he was serious about the talks, he could not have having Kenan representing the Kenya Kwanza side, knowing very well that Adan Kenan is an Azimio person.
Okay.
By law.
Okay.
So that's tell you that the president does not care. But in the front of Kenyans, he wants to show Kenyans because the people follow him. He can tell them, oh, I'm in this process. But if you look it with an eye, you will understand that Ruto is taking everybody like a fool. Because surely, if we are two warring side, why do you take Adan Kenan to talk about bipartisan on the side of Kenya Kwanza? While in law, he's in Azimio side. Yeah.
Okay.
This hypocrisy must go.
Mushiri.
Okay.
Mushiri. Actually, in the bipartisan inaugural meeting,
Yes, yes.
they said, that is the leadership of the two houses, said that on the contentious issues that they could not agree on, they let it to be resolved by their party leaders, and that is the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and of course the president, that is William Samoei Ruto. If at all, there are certain contentious issues that cannot be resolved at the two houses or the parliamentary committee, what someone will ask, what is the need of even having the bipartisanship talk
Yes, yes.
held with the two houses or the committee, having a committee? Why can't just the two principals sit? Why do we need a parliamentary committee? What is the essence of all that?
First, I would say this: the whole bipartisan. Maybe my brother is not so conversant about this party or whatever is happening in this party, but it was formed just to help them. The grief, it's a grief management for them, and a way to escape from all these disappointing their followers. You understand? Because no, it was very clear at this point, Odinga, and please let's stop. Actually, I would say this: let's stop, and you guys in the media are disappointing at this. When Odinga goes to Kibera, he goes to Mathare. That's not the whole country, and Odinga cannot hold the whole country at ransom. You understand? That being said, is whatever talks that are taking place, they have to be anchored in law. But whatever these guys they're asking, which is so evident, they want a piece of the government, which I would ask my party leader, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, please, and I say please again, you don't crave into their blackmail. Let the old man retire to Bondo, and actually I want to say this I want to say this, in Nyanza, they are very promising leaders. You as a leader, if you don't become president, the next best thing you can do is to create better leaders who can take from where he stopped. You understand? And Odinga has to realize his time is up. You understand? And only a good leader knows where he knows the right time to leave the dance.
You're not yet answering my question,
Yeah.
Mushiri.
He cannot answer it.
Is there need
That's how
of
they do.
having the House
cannot
committee?
answer.
Yes,
the
that's what I'm saying.
parliamentary committee?
You cannot answer the question.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the House committee, the whole idea was to have discussion that are anchored by law.
Yes.
But when I was starting, I said, this guy have a predetermined outcome of this process, which is a piece of the government. You understand? And that's what they are pushing. And the piece of government, them being accommodated in the government, it's nowhere in the constitution or in the prints of the laws of the country. You understand? So that's why I've urged my party leader. This government, you fought it. You fought for it.
Okay.
Don't succumb to the threats of this guy,
You
of
see,
this
Eugene,
guy of Azimio.
You see, Eugene, who want a part of a government that cannot pay its civil servants? Who want part of a government that cannot even pay for doctors? What do we go there to do in the government? The only thing we want is respect for Kenya. You can't tell other people that this is a company, and if you never voted for them, you cannot have... you cannot be appointed, your area cannot be developed, that they only develop two communities, the Kikuyus and the Kalenjin. I'm a Kikuyu, but I feel bad when you say that this is a company of two tribes. And that the person is saying is not just a normal politician on the street, a mad politician. A deputy president, for heaven's sake, going to the podium and telling Kenyans, you know what, this is a company with shares. And if you never voted this government, you will get nothing. That is not what our forefathers fought for. Our forefathers fought for a shared prosperity in other developed countries where we have real leaders. Even Museveni here is ahead of us. When elections are done and they are gone, the person who is on the seat, they serve all other Kenyans, regardless if you voted for them or not. But these people, you can see...
From where you sit,
yes.
Shege,
Yes.
is there need of having this committee that we have?
There's no need. It is in bad faith. And I explained why. Even these people, they keep telling Kenyans, no, you know, this country has law. This country has law, yes. But the law of this country says, if you are going to have bipartisan committee of both sides, let's have pure Kenya Kwanza MPs. And let's have pure Azimio MPs. But they are fronting Edan Kenan to read their side, showing the contempt they have in these talks. And you want our president, people's president, Raila Amolo Odinga, to stand there and show you teeth. We will continue the Amandamano. It is enshrined in our constitution.
Previously, Mushiri,
Yes.
the Azimio leader, and of course the side of the Azimio, had some issues, the bare minimums for the engagements generally. And one that stood out so conspicuously was opening of the Saba. And that has been repeated severally.
Yes, yes.
They took a hard stance that the Saba must be opened.
Yes.
Yet the Kenya Kwanza regime has categorically and actually pronounced themselves that they cannot open the servers. The servers have already been opened. From where you sit generally, what are the consequences of these hardline stances, even as we begin the bipartisan talks? Yes, are they going to help? How can we go about it generally?
You know, all these stories of Sava is just a way of Azimio of hoodwinking its supporters to continue believing they won the presidency. You understand? If you know how the election of this country works, especially speaking about the presidential election, you'd understand if you had a good tarring center, there was no need of servers. Because the election, according to the election process that happened in Kenya, the presidential vote is won in the polling station, the Form 34A. If they had their Form 34A, they took all their Form 34A in the Supreme Court. And they were told, these are fabrications. You understand? So before they say about the servers, and the servers were actually opened, were they? They were opened. So these servers, they are saying they be opened. I don't know what they are speaking about, which servers to be opened, and the president has no powers to open the servers. They can just go to court. They can just take their cause, they are needed to the judiciary, their complaints to judiciary, and they can get some redress from the judiciary. But bring it to the bipartisan, even that they can talk about, it's simple. These guys of Azimio won the share of the government. You understand? And let my brother stop saying about this government does not pay. You know, actually, if you speak, if he says the government has shareholders, you know that was a figurative speech by the deputy president. But actions, people who have shown actions that their leader, who is Odinga, when he stole to look for youths to nominate, he does not look for a shareholder in another county. He looks for family members. When my brother here, he is saying he's Azimio youth. But when it comes to Azimio nominating youth to this appointed position, Odinga appoints his daughter. When Kalonzo is given the same position to appoint youth, he appoints his son. So these guys should stop that conversation about shareholding and everything, because they show these actions, they show what they are speaking, they show by actions. You understand?
You see, this man is misleading Kenyans. Who appointed the daughters to Raila? Is it Raila or Parliament?
No, he nominated.
No, there were so many people on the panel at the Parliament who have nominated another person. There were like 4 people in that ODM list that would have been appointed. But they decided to, in fact, the person who garnered most votes was Winnie. If those people they did not want to elect even Winnie, they could have abstained to elect Winnie. He almost got 200 votes and mostly came from Kenya Kwanza. Yes. The people who appointed him.
Eugene,
let me tell you.
Just give me a minute.
Let's not make a country. Let's not have a country. Let me finish with it. Let's not have a country whereby just because I'm a leader, my daughter or my son does not deserve anything in this country, even if they qualify. Let's not have a country that if my daughter has gone to school and I work in a company, and that company, my daughter has the certificates, have the papers to be there. And that company, the majority share of those companies, they have voted my daughter. But because I'm the CEO, my daughter will not become the CFO of that company because I'm the head. Let us not try to trivialize, because very soon we will be fathers.
Okay.
Actually,
that is not the issue.
I just want to redress on that, Eugene. Please, I want to educate my brother here.
Let us not divert from the question, because he has diverted the question you asked.
Let me redress.
Now we are in issues that are not even there.
No, let me just educate my brother on this. Because even our viewers are seeing this. In nomination for Yala, you are nominated by the party.
That is not the
Going
issue.
Second,
we will have a discussion for that. And of course, we were talking about the hardline stances, how they are actually affecting these talks that we are having. Because the Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio team decided to sit down so that they can have maybe a discussion to forge a common front of how they can better the future generally of Kenyans. So if they have hardline stances, like Azimio has made it so conspicuous and said that so categorical that they want the servers open. They have said that severally. Kenya Kwanza has also pronounced itself on that same issue. They are not opening servers. It had already been opened. And and so on and so forth. So many hardline stances. My question is, if Kenya Kwanza continues to refuse, what becomes generally of all these conversations?
You know, the Azimio are coming to these discussions and to these bipartisan parts with a predetermined notion or outcome of the whole situation. You understand? And I've explained that again.
Okay. Let me just give you a chance. Maybe you can elucidate on this same issue.
I said it before, that honesty in our leaders can only make this country stand or fail. And in the two principles, Raila is very honest. We were ready to let Maandamano go. For 2 weeks, we stayed without Maandamano. We said, let us engage first and see what come out of this. On Raila Odinga's side, he gave the best brains that could go engage and find solutions. In William Samoei Ruto's, he gave all the new greenhorns. I'm not saying they are not experienced. He gave all the new greenhorns. And even to show that he doesn't even care about this, he injected some of the people that he had sent to Jubilee to do coup in Jubilee to get out of Azimio. He put them there as leaders in these talks, Eugene. It shows from the word go that Ruto, President William Samoei Ruto, does not care about the talks. He's just talking it for the sake of Wananchi. But in his heart, he doesn't care if this country stands or it fails. And I'm telling you where I sit. Yesterday I was in Murang'a with Raila Amolo Odinga. And this government had said that there will be no town hall meetings or there will be no mandamanos that will be held in Murang'a. To their surprise, the town hall meeting, we were in the Union's Mother Hall, Pare Murang'a town. It was full to capacity. We came at Kenol. Raila was received as a hero because what Raila is fighting for is not fighting for his supporters only. Raila is fighting for the whole country. When he tells the people of Murang'a, in fact, let me tell you, Murang'a is the second county for the first time in history that has a majority of students who did not join Form 1 because the previous regime had put something called subsidy for education. Are we together? So that the poor people, each person, the poor people who are joining secondary school, the government was giving 8,000. These people, they came and removed the subsidy for the school. So that the people, our Mamboga can be able to pay the school. Wakatoa. So when Raila went to Murang'a, one woman was crying and he asked Raila, my son ako nyumbani. Alikuwa anasoma Uhuru akiwa. What happened to this government? Wanasema wametoa subsidy. Hiyo subsidy wamesema wametoa. These people, you know, these people, they usually address Kenyans who cannot. Okay. And that's why I'm here. Let me finish that one. Mumetoa subsidies ya mafuta, mumetoa subsidies ya unga, ya shule. Hizo pesa ziko wapi? You have removed those subsidies. Where is the money? Because right now, the more you are removing those subsidies, the more this government is becoming broke. It cannot even pay anything. You wonder, but nilisikia pesa mingi zinaenda, kuna watu wameko State House wanaomba. So nilisikia budget kubwa inakuliwa huko.
Okay, I want us to come to
Can I finish up on that?
This
just
topic,
1 minute. Just a minute.
And my question generally, based on these demands and all these issues, the stalemate and whatever, between the Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, what does the future generally in politics portend to Kenyans? What does this portend to the future politics?
First, I want to say this. You know, Raila Odinga's political career has been spawned by issuing threats and demands.
Let's talk about
No. I'm explaining.
Yes.
I'm explaining. You understand now I have to explain. Eh?
Yes.
I'm building on the point.
Okay.
You know, Raila Odinga's political career has been built on throwing threats and blackmailing the regimes for him to get in government. By now, as we speak, it will be impossible for him to do this. So what I'm saying, we can only learn from what had happened. Because as a good historian, you have to learn from history. If you don't learn from history, it's bound to repeat itself. And we have to appreciate as a country and as a democracy that there are principles for election processes. That if you go to election, you either win or lose. And when you lose an election, please just go home. Stop bothering the Mamamboga, the border guys there in the street by holding mandamano for you to be accommodated in the government. I think that will be that's the only lesson we can learn from Odinga. And it is it's a very bad scene for somebody who is exiting the scene of politics, who has been known as a democratic person, to spoil his name and spoil his name as a person who is pushing for destruction of property. You understand? He cannot exit the scene as an
Eugene, remove if these people they remove Raila from their mouth, he'll just walk out. There's no content. If you just remove Raila Odinga from his mouth, he'll just walk out. There is no content. Or we talk other things. Because anything is Raila, it has been Raila.
But
it's okay. I understand.
We're short of time. Yes. And I just want us to take the time that is remaining, even as we make our final remarks, generally on the issues that we've talked about. But we are actually experiencing in our neighboring country, that is Sudan. There's a social and, of course, civil unrest. Generally, what do you think, from your own understanding of this issue, generally, what does it portend to the neighboring countries from where you sit generally, and what can be done to solve the situation?
It is a sad scene, what is happening in Sudan, but you have to understand whatever is happening in Sudan is propagated by the Western powers. Because you have to understand what's happening in Sudan. Those are not just Sudan which woke up today and decided they were going to fight. There is something which is called proxy war. Proxy war is happening in Ukraine, whatever is happening in Ukraine. And for somebody for people from home to understand what's going on in Sudan, Sudan, the government in place, which is led in support of the army, who is in position, who is fighting with the RSCF guy, had agreed Russia to put up an navy base in the coast of Sudan. So what's happening in Sudan is what happened in Libya, and it's what happened into other countries that weren't going in the same position with the Western powers. So I think we should pray for Sudan at this moment, and as African leaders, we must be strong and condemn this with the strongest term as possible. Yes.
You see, when you have fake leadership and bad leadership, that's what happened to Sudan. Let's not have each time that African countries go down, we start blaming, we start portioning blames to externals. Why, if US goes down, will they start saying what is happening now is countries from Africa who are, no. You see, a responsible government take responsibility of whatever is happening at their doorsteps. There's no time for blame games about abroad, about who. What is happening in Sudan is poor leadership that was advanced by the previous president, who instead of dealing with the issues that they were using the law, he went out of the law and formed a paramilitary group that could silence the opposition. Are you together? That's what happened in Sudan. The paramilitary that was formed by the previous president became so strong that it overthrew the president. Are you together? Now it is overthrowing this government. What is happening is the same thing that this leadership was doing. The other day they hired some militia. Instead, they have the police, they have the military, they have DCI, but they had militia to go to the farm of the fourth president of this republic. They stole there, nothing was happening, and those militia, if with time, they are equipped. They will overthrow this government. So let us not stop saying, oh, what is happening abroad? Poor leadership in Africa. What is being done by this government?
Our time is over, and I'd love to extend my gratitude to my political commentators for the show tonight, and of course the team that has been behind this, doing a great job to, of course, see this program through as we continue to share different perspectives from different stakeholders. And of course, we talked about bipartisan talks and so many other issues. And we're looking forward to continue talking about critical issues that affect you one-on-one, even in the next episode of this show. And to wish you a very good night. And I encourage you to continue with the conversation through our SMS lines, and of course, even through our social media platforms, where you can also share your thoughts on the discussions and the conversations that we have been having. My name is Eugene Ochieng-Kwach, and see you next time. Good night.